In part one, we examined the guest list. Who wasn't there told us everything. It wasn't a wedding, it was a message. Now in part two, we move past the seats and into the symbols. Because when a narrative is being staged, the real language isn't spoken, it's worn, it's shown. This is the story not told in speeches or vows. This is the story stitched into the dresses, buried in the tiara, and revealed in every silent moment that passed without explanation. We'll break down the bridesmaid dress conflict, the tiara scandal, Meghan's solo walk, Kate's pale coat, and the choreography of control that unfolded in real time. This isn't about fashion, it's about framing. In royal ceremonies, power is expressed in silence, posture, fabric, and color. Meghan understood this. She used it, and what looked like modernity was actually something more precise, psychological warfare in white silk. If you haven't watched part one, start there, then come back, because this chapter builds on what we've already exposed, that the wedding wasn't the climax of a love story. It was the first full deployment of a strategy. Subscribe to follow the series. Comment if you see what's unfolding. This isn't drama, it's behavior, and once you know what to look for, every detail starts telling you the truth. In Spare, Harry tells the bridesmaid dress story from Meghan's point of view. According to him, Meghan cried after a tense exchange with Kate over Charlotte's dress. But the version in the press and within the palace was different. Meghan had made Kate cry. Later, in Oprah, Meghan flipped the story entirely. She said she had been the one reduced to tears. A small moment became a seismic crack in the family's image. Catherine was 4 weeks postpartum. She had just given birth to Prince Louis. She arrived at the fitting with a toddler in hand and a public schedule to maintain. Meghan, backed by Jessica Mulroney, pushed back on protocol. No tights, hemline debates, rejecting Charlotte's fit. Catherine, tired and dealing with staff complaints about Meghan's temperament, broke down. Meghan refused to bend. Catherine wept. And Meghan told the world a different story. The narrative became weaponized. Meghan told Oprah this was the beginning of a character assassination, but she was the only one allowed to speak. Catherine, bound by role and dignity, stayed silent. Harry published private text exchanges. Meghan got global airtime. Catherine was left cast as cold, controlling, and cruel, without the right to respond. That's not resolution. That's asymmetric warfare. Meghan didn't just control the narrative, she knew her audience. American viewers wouldn't know the protocol, they'd see tights and hem lengths as nitpicking. But British viewers understood this wasn't about fabric, it was about formality. Meghan's disregard for the rules wasn't bold, it was strategic. And when those rules weren't changed for her, she recast them as oppression. Classic narcissist inversion. Catherine wore a pale coat by Alexander McQueen, something she'd worn before. In American culture, re-wearing light tones to another woman's wedding would be taboo. But this wasn't America. This was hierarchy. Catherine didn't compete. She reminded. She didn't need a new look. She didn't need to sparkle. Her position was already fixed. Her coat said, "I'm not in your way. I'm above the performance." Color coordination spoke volumes. Meghan styled Doria. The press called her serene, but she sat alone, visibly apart. The royal family wore their duty. Meghan's guests wore curated influence. Her suits co-stars didn't match. Because they weren't meant to belong, they were accessories. Visual soft power. The ceremony wasn't blending lives, it was building an aesthetic. Royal image on one side, Meghan's world on the other. Then came the tiara. The Queen offered Meghan a choice of 5. Harry says she melted when the Queen told her, "Tiaras suit you." They chose one, planned the veil to match, and left feeling loved. But days later, when they asked for a hair trial with the tiara, the story changed. Angela Kelly, the Queen's dresser, didn't respond. Meghan took it as a slight. Harry saw obstruction. In their eyes, it wasn't about safety. It was sabotage. Angela Kelly wasn't blocking access. She was protecting a priceless artifact. But Meghan and Harry wanted what they wanted, on their timeline. When Angela said the tiara couldn't be removed without protocol, Harry snapped. What Meghan wants, Meghan gets. The Queen was reportedly not amused. She told Harry she can't have everything. That was the first visible crack between monarchy and Meghan's demands. The tiara became the emotional rehearsal for a future script. What began as a generous gesture turned into a grievance. Meghan wasn't denied a crown, she was offered one, with conditions, and those conditions became intolerable. For a narcissist, structure is restriction, boundaries are betrayal. This wasn't about hair, it was about power, and the need to feel that rules don't apply, because feelings do. Meghan's solo walk down the aisle was framed as feminist. CNN called it iconic, but behind the narrative was calculation. It wasn't empowerment, it was separation, a choice to enter without anchors. She walked halfway alone, then Charles stepped in. The monarchy salvaged the image, but the message remained. Meghan entered on her terms. She didn't need a father, she didn't need a family, she needed the frame. Walking unaccompanied was applauded by some, but in royal language it read differently. It was a break in continuity, a reassertion of individuality in a ceremony built for lineage. Meghan was not resisting tradition, she was rewriting it. Alone in the aisle, she wasn't connecting two families. She was stepping into a role she believed she had authored. The wedding wasn't submission, it was staging. The ceremony moved forward with staged perfection, but the body language told another story. Doria sat alone. The royals sat composed. The groom looked proud, but nervous. The bride looked polished, but distant. There was beauty, there was light, but no warmth between the families, not even symbolic unity, just structure and silence. It wasn't chilly, it was calculated.